The grand hall of the alien palace stretched wider than any human could imagine. Its ceiling curved like a giant shell, shimmering with iridescent light that shifted colors as though alive. The walls were lined with floating crystals, each glowing softly, casting shadows that danced across the polished floor. At the far end, on a throne carved from black crystal and silver metal, sat Queen Xylaris, the ruler of the Andromedan Empire. Her eyes glowed faintly violet, sharp and piercing as she surveyed the room. Her presence alone commanded attention, and even her own court dared not show disrespect. Yet today her attention was focused elsewhere. In the center of the hall, a group of human mercenaries had been summoned before her court. They stood in formation, awkward and stiff, their human bodies seemingly fragile compared to the towering, elegant aliens around them. Each human was dressed in standard-issue battle armor, worn but practical, and carried weapons that looked crude to alien eyes. Queen Xylaris leaned forward slightly, her curiosity mixed with amusement. "So these are the creatures my advisors wish to trust with our front lines?" she asked, her voice smooth yet sharp like liquid metal. "They look delicate, soft even." Her court echoed her sentiment. High-ranking generals and advisors murmured, some snickering quietly. "They could barely lift their own rifles," one commented, smirking. How could they possibly survive a real battle? The humans remained silent, as they had been trained to do. Among them, a man named Captain Elias Ward stood taller than the others, not in physical height but in presence. His eyes scanned the hall carefully, observing everything without revealing emotion. He noted the subtle gestures of the aliens, the way their tails flicked with impatience, how their glowing eyes shifted in judgment. He felt a quiet confidence. They did not understand humans, and that could be an advantage. Queen Xylaris laughed lightly, a sound like wind over glass. "I have seen many alien warriors in my time," she said, her tone tinged with pride and superiority. "They are skilled, disciplined, and cunning. Yet here we have humans, creatures barely able to stand against a gust of wind. Tell me, Captain Ward, why should I allow your people to fight in our wars?" Ward straightened, bowing respectfully but without fear. "Your Majesty, humans may seem weaker at first glance," he said, his voice steady. "But we adapt. We learn quickly. We survive in situations others might fail. Strength is not only measured by size or technology, it is measured by will, courage, and ingenuity." The Queen raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. "Ingenuity?" she repeated, as though tasting a strange word. "I have seen countless species boast of ingenuity. Most fail when confronted with true danger. Humans, I suspect, will do the same." A murmur ran through the court. Some advisors nodded, reinforcing her view. Others, curious or cautious, remained silent. One of her generals, a tall, silver-scaled alien named Xylarin, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, the humans' arrival was meant to provide assistance on the frontier," he said. "But I must admit I share your skepticism. Their equipment is primitive and their bodies fragile. Perhaps this is more symbolic than practical." Queen Xylaris leaned back in her throne, folding her elongated hands. "Symbolic or practical, we shall see," she said. Her violet eyes narrowed. "Bring me their records. I want to know how humans fight. I want proof that they are not a liability." The humans had already anticipated this. Ward handed over data tablets, showing their past campaigns on Earth and in interstellar conflicts. Each record included small units overcoming larger, better-equipped forces through tactics, improvisation, and teamwork. The court skimmed the records, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. "Interesting," Queen Xylaris said after a long pause. "It seems humans have some cleverness, yet cleverness alone does not win battles." She waved her hand dismissively. "We shall see if your cleverness survives real war. You will be deployed to the border planet of Carrion 5. There you will face insurgents who have fought my empire for decades. If you fail, humanity will be remembered as foolish and your species' reputation will crumble." Ward inclined his head. "Understood, Your Majesty. We do not seek glory. We seek to survive and succeed." The Queen's lip curved into a faint, knowing smile. "We shall see." She turned to her court. "Prepare the human unit for deployment. I wish to watch them myself." As the humans were escorted from the grand hall, Ward allowed himself a moment of private reflection. Carrion 5 was a harsh, barren world with jagged mountains and frequent dust storms. Alien insurgents there were known for their cunning and brutality. It would not be an easy fight. Yet humans thrived under pressure. Humans excelled when the odds were against them. Meanwhile, in her private chambers, Queen Xylaris paced thoughtfully. She had faced countless species, led armies, and conquered worlds. Yet something about these humans intrigued her. They were fragile, yes, but there was a spark in their eyes, a determination she did not often see. Most species crumbled under fear. Humans seemed different. She could not yet explain why, but a tiny part of her felt a flicker of anticipation. Back on the human transport ship, Ward gathered his team. There was Lieutenant Mara Keen, a quick-witted scout, Sergeant Ryo Tanaka, a heavy weapons specialist, and Private Lila Brooks, a medic with unmatched precision and courage. Each of them carried the quiet confidence of humans who had survived the worst and learned to fight through intellect and coordination rather than brute strength. Ward addressed his team. "We are not here to prove them right. We are here to do what humans do best: adapt, survive, and overcome. Carrion 5 will be tough, but we have one advantage they do not: our creativity. Our mind is our strongest weapon." The team nodded, each feeling the weight of the coming battle but also the thrill of a challenge. Carrion 5 awaited, a world that would test their every skill, yet humans thrived under such tests. They thrived where others failed. When the transport ship emerged from hyperspace, the barren red and gray surface of Carrion 5 stretched below them. Dust storms raged across jagged cliffs, and the harsh sun cast long, threatening shadows. Alien patrols were already known to scout the region. Ward's eyes narrowed. The fight was about to begin. As they descended toward the planet, Queen Xylaris observed from her palace. Large screens displayed the humans' approach, and she leaned forward, a mixture of curiosity and amusement on her face. She whispered to herself, "Let us see if these fragile creatures can survive a real battle. I doubt it." But deep inside, a part of her, one she rarely admitted even to herself, wondered what it would mean if they did. Could a human warrior truly be more than what appearances suggested? Could they surprise even her, the queen of the Andromedan Empire? She pushed the thought aside. "No," she muttered. "They are human. They are weak." Still, as the transport landed on the dusty, windswept plains of Carrion 5 and the humans prepared their first steps into alien territory, the tiniest spark of doubt flickered in her mind. Maybe, just maybe, the humans were not as helpless as she thought. Ward and his team disembarked, scanning the horizon. Alien insurgents would not wait for greetings. The wind whipped dust into their eyes, but humans had learned to endure. Ward lifted his rifle, signaling his team. "Stay sharp. Watch for traps. Trust each other and we will survive this. That is what humans do." The red dust of Carrion 5 swirled violently around Captain Elias Ward and his small team. Jagged cliffs and scorched plains stretched for miles in every direction. The wind carried a metallic tang, and the sun scorched the land with relentless heat. Alien patrols had been reported near this sector, and intelligence suggested the insurgents were well-trained, well-armed, and extremely cunning. Yet Ward did not flinch. "Scanners show movement to the east," Lieutenant Mara Keen said, crouching behind a rock and scanning the horizon with her binoculars. "At least a squad of 6, maybe more." Ward nodded. "Good, keep eyes on them. We don't engage until we have a plan. Remember, adapt, survive, and overcome. That's how humans win." Sergeant Ryo Tanaka adjusted his heavy rifle, muttering under his breath, "These aliens are bigger than anything I've fought before. I don't like those odds." "You're not meant to like it," Ward replied calmly. "You're meant to survive it. Focus on your training." The humans moved carefully across the rocky terrain, using the shadows and the uneven cliffs to their advantage. Unlike their alien counterparts, they did not rely on brute strength or overwhelming firepower. Instead, they relied on coordination, strategy, and observation. Each footstep, each glance, and each movement had purpose. From the cliffs above, the alien insurgents watched. Their bright green eyes glinted in the sunlight as they prepared their ambush. "Pathetic creatures," one hissed. "Look at them crawl across the rocks. This will be an easy kill." But humans were not easy to predict. Ward signaled Mara with a subtle hand gesture, and she darted behind a boulder, flanking the enemy silently. Private Lila Brooks, the medic, moved with careful precision, carrying her supplies in a compact pack while scanning for threats. Rio set up a temporary firing position behind a rock outcrop, camouflaging himself with the red dust. Suddenly, a burst of alien plasma shot across the plain, narrowly missing the humans. The battle had begun. "Contact!" Mara shouted. "Enemies at 12 o'clock. Ward's voice was calm but commanding. "Hold your positions. Let them come to us." The alien squad charged with confidence, expecting an easy kill. But the humans had prepared. Using the uneven terrain, they created improvised barriers from rocks and debris, forcing the aliens to slow down. Mara leaped from cover, throwing a smoke grenade that blanketed the battlefield. In the confusion, Ward directed Rio to fire a precise shot that disabled the alien squad leader's energy rifle. Chaos erupted. The aliens, unprepared for human tactics, faltered. They were strong and fast, yes, but predictable in their assumptions. Humans, small and seemingly fragile, moved unpredictably. Ward's team weaved through the battlefield, striking, retreating, and striking again with coordinated efficiency. From her palace, Queen Xylaris observed the skirmish through the battle screens. She leaned forward, her violet eyes narrowing. At first, she had expected the humans to collapse under the first volley of fire, but they moved with a precision and courage that she had not anticipated. "Impossible," she whispered. "They should not be surviving this." One of her generals, Xylarin, watched alongside her. "Your Majesty, they are holding their ground. Not only that, they are outmaneuvering the insurgents." The Queen's tail flicked nervously. "Humans are fragile, and yet they fight like predators. This is unusual." Back on the battlefield, Ward saw an opportunity. The alien insurgents had formed a defensive line, expecting the humans to break under pressure. But Ward's team had a plan. Using small charges, they created distractions, forcing the aliens to split their attention. Mara and Lila flanked from opposite sides while Rio covered them from the rear. Ward's voice rang out clearly. "Now! Strike together!" In a synchronized move, the humans attacked. Mara disabled several alien rifles with precise throws. Rio's heavy shots incapacitated 2 more, and Lila tended to wounded teammates while keeping her position steady. Ward charged forward at the right moment, using his agility to disable the final insurgent. Within minutes, the 6 alien soldiers were neutralized. The humans had won the skirmish not by brute force, but by clever coordination, strategy, and adaptability. As the dust settled, Ward gathered his team. "Good work," he said simply. "Stay alert. This was only the first wave. More will come." Mara wiped sweat from her brow. "Captain, they underestimated us. I can't believe we pulled that off." Ward nodded. "They still do. That's our advantage. Humans are underestimated everywhere, and we survive because of it." Meanwhile, Queen Xylaris's eyes remained fixed on the screen. She had expected to see human bodies falling, chaos, and defeat. Instead, she saw efficiency, courage, and intelligence in action. The humans had taken a battlefield meant for their destruction and turned it into a place of advantage. They survived," she murmured, a hint of disbelief in her voice. "And they fought, well, better than many species I have commanded myself." Xylarin tilted his head. "Your Majesty, perhaps we misjudge them. They may be small, but their tactics are remarkable." The Queen's violet eyes narrowed. "Remarkable, yes. But can they do it again? Can they survive repeated attacks? Or is this luck?" Ward did not know that the eyes of the Andromedan Empire were watching him. But he knew humans had a strength no one else seemed to understand: the ability to adapt. Every challenge was a test, and humans thrived on tests. The aliens regrouped, preparing for another wave. Ward and his team did the same. They set traps along narrow pathways, creating choke points where larger forces could be managed. Mara climbed a cliffside to scout, while Rio placed charges in strategic locations. Lila stayed near the center, ready to assist anyone who was injured. As the next wave approached, the humans held their positions. Their bodies were smaller, their armor lighter, but their minds were sharp. The aliens, confident in their superior strength, were about to face a type of combat they had never experienced. The second wave hit harder, firing energy blasts and charging with brutal strength. Yet the humans responded with coordination and precision. They moved in small, efficient units, striking, retreating, and using the terrain to their advantage. The aliens were strong but predictable. The humans were clever, unpredictable, and fearless. For the first time, Queen Xylaris felt her pulse quicken. She had watched countless species crumble in the first minutes of battle. But these humans, they fought with something she had rarely seen: unyielding determination, intelligence, and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. "They are different," she said softly, almost to herself. These humans, they are more than I expected. Ward and his team finished the skirmish by disabling the remaining insurgents. They had lost no one, not a single casualty. They had survived a battlefield designed to destroy them, and they had done it with strategy, courage, and teamwork. Ward looked at his team and smiled faintly. "We did it," he said. "Humans survive, humans fight, humans win. That's what we do," Mara nodded. "We may be small, but we are effective. That's all that matters," Rio grinned. "I think I like Carrion 5 already. Well, maybe not the dust." Lila laughed softly, her voice carrying over the barren plains. "Surviving is more important than comfort. Remember that." Far away, Queen Zelaris sat in her palace, her violet eyes still fixed on the battlefield screens. For the first time, she felt a flicker of respect for the humans. They were not merely fragile creatures as she had thought. They were something far more dangerous, unpredictable, clever, and unyielding. Her voice was soft but firm as she spoke to herself. "Perhaps I underestimated them. Perhaps I was wrong." The barren plains of Carrion 5 stretched endlessly under a blood-red sky. Dust storms swirled across the jagged terrain, making visibility nearly impossible. Captain Elias Ward and his team moved cautiously, scanning every ridge and cliff for signs of alien insurgents. After their first victory, the humans knew the enemy would not take defeat lightly. This was not a practice skirmish. This was a war for survival. "Reports show multiple insurgent squads moving toward us," Mara Keen said, her voice tense but calm as she checked the scanner. "They've gathered far more than we expected." "Looks like an ambush." Ward nodded, his mind already calculating. "Good. That means we have the advantage of knowing where they'll strike. We can set the battlefield our way." He paused, looking at the dusty horizon. "This is what humans do best. We adapt, we plan, and we overcome. Let's show them." Rio Tanaka, adjusting his heavy rifle, grinned. "Bring it on. Let's make this interesting." Lila Brooks, the medic, shook her head but smiled faintly. "Don't get too cocky, Rio. We survive as a team, not as individuals." Ward led the team toward a narrow canyon that wound through jagged cliffs. He recognized the terrain immediately. Perfect for a defensive position and ideal for turning the enemy's numbers into a disadvantage. They moved with quiet precision, placing traps and sensors along the canyon edges. Small charges were hidden among rocks, ready to create explosions that would confuse the attackers. Hours passed, and the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the cliffs. Then a deep vibration ran through the ground, the approach of the alien insurgent forces. Dozens of them, organized and heavily armed, were coming directly toward the human team's location. Ward motioned for silence. "Stay calm. Wait for my signal." From her palace, Queen Zelaris watched the unfolding battle on the large hollow screen. Her violet eyes glimmered with a mixture of skepticism and growing curiosity. The humans had survived the first skirmish with clever tactics, but this was a larger challenge. She expected them to be crushed under sheer numbers. "They cannot possibly survive this," Zelarin said, leaning forward with confidence. The queen's tail flicked slowly. "Perhaps," she said softly, "but I will watch carefully. There is something different about them, something I cannot yet name." Back in the canyon, the first wave of aliens appeared. They moved with confidence, their armor reflecting the dim light as they spread across the canyon floor. Ward's team waited, silent, their presence almost invisible among the rocks. "Now!" Ward shouted, and the humans sprung into action. The traps went off simultaneously. Rocks tumbled down narrow cliffs, creating chaos and confusion among the alien forces. Explosions disoriented them, while smoke and dust limited their vision. Mara flanked the right side, using the rocks as cover to strike quickly and disappear. Rio fired carefully, targeting enemies whose positions were exposed by the collapsing terrain. Lila moved swiftly to treat minor injuries among her teammates while keeping her own position secure. The aliens, expecting a direct fight, were shocked by the humans' clever use of terrain and traps. They were strong, but their predictability worked against them. Ward and his team moved like shadows, striking at precise moments and retreating before the enemy could regroup. Despite the chaos, the aliens adapted quickly. Their numbers allowed them to regroup, pressing the humans harder. Ward realized this was a critical moment. "Hold the line," he shouted. "Use the canyon to your advantage. Force them into the narrow pass." The humans retreated slightly, luring the aliens into a narrow section of the canyon. There, Ward had positioned small explosive charges and hidden barriers. As the alien forces entered the choke point, Ward triggered the traps. Rocks tumbled, smoke filled the air, and several of the attackers were caught off guard. Mara struck from above, incapacitating key targets with precise moves. The battle raged for nearly an hour. Sweat, dust, and tension coated the humans' bodies, but they remained focused, disciplined, and resilient. Every move was calculated, every strike intentional. Their small size and agility, once considered a weakness, became their greatest advantage. Queen Xylaris watched silently. Her lips were pressed together and her violet eyes widened slightly with each human maneuver. They are not just surviving," she murmured. "They are controlling the battlefield. This is remarkable." Xylarin frowned, unsettled. "They are still human. They should be overwhelmed. This is unnatural." The Queen did not respond. Her attention was fully on the humans. She had expected brute force to crush them, yet here they were, small and fragile, dominating a larger, stronger enemy through intelligence, coordination, and courage. On the battlefield, Ward signaled his team to prepare for the final stage. The alien forces were regrouping, but he had anticipated this. Using hidden paths along the cliffs, he divided the insurgents' attention. Mara attacked from the left, Lila moved through the center to provide support, and Rio positioned himself above, ready to strike with long-range fire. Ward moved carefully, targeting the alien squad leader with precision. His movements were calm but deadly. With a coordinated strike, the leader was incapacitated, causing confusion and fear among the alien forces. The remaining insurgents faltered, unsure of how to respond. Ward's voice rang out clearly. "Now, push forward together." The humans advanced, striking decisively. Their teamwork and intelligence allowed them to overpower the remaining aliens. Within minutes, the canyon was silent, the enemy neutralized. The humans had survived a battle that should have destroyed them, using strategy, ingenuity, and unwavering courage. Ward gathered his team, checking for injuries. "We did it," he said, a quiet pride in his voice. "Humans survive. Humans fight. Humans win." Mara grinned, her eyes shining with excitement. "We may be outnumbered, but we are unstoppable when we work together." Rio let out a low laugh. "And they'll never expect it. Small, fragile humans taking down dozens of stronger enemies." "I love it." Lila smiled softly. "We survived because we trust each other. That's what makes us strong." Meanwhile, Queen Xylaris remained in her observation room, silent and thoughtful. Her usual pride in the superiority of her empire's warriors was shaken. She had watched countless species fail, yet these humans had defied every expectation. Their strength was not physical but mental and emotional. They adapted, coordinated, and overcame. "They are extraordinary," she whispered almost to herself. "I must admit, they are more than I imagined." Xylarin tilted his head, clearly uneasy. "Your Majesty, if they can survive this, what does it mean for the Empire?" The Queen did not answer immediately. Her violet eyes remained fixed on the screens. "It means," she said finally, "that humans are unpredictable, and unpredictable is dangerous. Perhaps we have underestimated them for too long." On Carrion 5, Ward and his team prepared for the next phase. They knew the battle was not over. Larger enemy forces remained, and the insurgents would not forget this defeat. Yet humans thrived on challenges. Each obstacle, each ambush, was an opportunity to use their intelligence and creativity. Ward looked at his team, his expression calm but determined. "We survived the first ambush," he said. "We adapted, we fought, and we won. The next wave will be harder. But that's what humans do. We face impossible odds and find a way to survive." Mara nodded. "We're ready. Let them come." Rio adjusted his rifle. "This planet won't know what hit it." Lila, checking her medical supplies, added softly, "As long as we stay together, we can handle anything." The humans advanced further into the canyon, moving silently and carefully. Dust storms continued to whip around them, but they were focused. Each step was deliberate, each movement calculated. Humans may have been smaller, weaker, and seemingly fragile, but their courage and intelligence made them formidable beyond measure. And far away, in the heart of the alien empire, Queen Xylaris could no longer ignore the truth. Humans were not what she had assumed. They were clever, fearless, and resilient. The battlefield had proven it. For the first time, she felt something new, respect and even a hint of admiration. She did not yet fully understand it, but one thing was clear. If humans were underestimated, It was at the Empire's peril. On Carrion 5, the humans pressed on, unaware of the Queen's changing perception. They had survived the turning point of the battle, and their spirit burned brighter than ever. The war was far from over, but humanity had already proven one undeniable fact. Humans could fight, adapt, and overcome, even against the impossible odds of an alien empire. The war on Carrion 5 was far from over. Dust still coated every surface, and jagged cliffs cast long shadows over the scarred battlefield. Captain Elias Ward and his team had survived multiple ambushes, and their reputation among the alien insurgents was quickly growing. The humans were small, fragile in appearance, yet every encounter revealed their cunning, adaptability, and relentless determination. But the humans' victories had not gone unnoticed. The alien queen, Zelaris, had observed every move from her palace thousands of light years away. Violet eyes, sharp and calculating, studied the humans with a mix of fascination and newfound respect. She had expected them to fail in the first battle and again in the ambush. Yet each time they had survived and prevailed. "They are remarkable," Zelaris whispered to herself, pacing slowly in her private chamber, her tail flicked with tension. Not through strength, not through technology, but through thought, courage, and unity. Xylarin, her trusted general, stood silently beside her. "Your Majesty, they survive where many would fall. Their numbers are small, yet their impact is great. Perhaps we underestimated them." Xylaris paused, her glowing eyes narrowing. "We did. But the question now is why? Why are these humans able to achieve what countless others cannot?" Back on the planet, Ward's team moved through the canyon toward a temporary supply point. They were exhausted but alert. The humans had been fighting non-stop for days, and yet their spirit had not faltered. Ward knew that the key to survival on Carrion 5 was not raw strength. It was coordination, ingenuity, and the ability to adapt. Mara Keen glanced at the horizon. "Captain, there's movement ahead. Scouts, I think." Ward nodded, signaling the team to halt. "Stay low, observe, and wait for the right moment," Ryo Tanaka muttered. "Every time we fight, it gets harder. But so far, we've survived everything thrown at us." Ward's expression was calm but determined. "Exactly. And we will continue to survive because we rely on each other and on our intelligence, not just brute force." The alien scouts appeared cautiously, moving with trained precision. Ward observed their formation and realized that this encounter would be different. These were elite insurgents, disciplined and experienced. They were expecting humans to falter, to run or panic. Instead, Ward's team remained composed, a small unit acting as one. "Divide and confuse," Ward whispered. "Mara, take the left flank. Lila, stay central and be ready to assist. Rio, cover from above. I'll engage the front." The humans moved like shadows, each step measured and purposeful. As the first scouts approached, Mara's flanking maneuver struck first, disabling several enemies before they realized what was happening. Rio fired from above, picking off key targets with deadly accuracy. Lila moved swiftly, tending to minor injuries among the humans while maintaining her cover. Ward confronted the lead insurgent head-on, using agility and precision to neutralize him quickly. From her palace, Queen Zelaris watched every move. Her violet eyes widened. The humans were no longer merely surviving. They were controlling the battlefield. Their coordination, clever use of terrain, and ability to adapt to unexpected attacks left her astonished. They are incredible," she muttered. "I have seen countless species fight. None show this level of resilience and intelligence. These humans, they are unlike anything I have encountered." Xylarin's jaw tightened. "Your Majesty, what does this mean? Are humans truly as capable as they appear?" Zelaris remained silent, studying the humans with intensity. "Perhaps more capable," she finally said. "But not just capable, they are dangerous. Not because of strength, but because of unpredictability. And unpredictability is something my empire cannot easily counter." Meanwhile, Ward's team had finished neutralizing the scouts. They regrouped, exhausted but unbroken. Ward addressed them quietly, his voice steady. "We have survived the scouts. We are stronger because we remain calm under pressure, because we act as one. That is what humans do. That is what we are." Mara smiled faintly. "Captain, we are making a mark here." "They will remember us," Rio laughed softly. "I doubt they'll forget fragile humans who survive impossible battles." Lila shook her head but grinned. "It's not about being remembered. It's about surviving and learning." That's all that matters. Soon after, a message arrived from Queen Xylaris herself. The humans were to report to her palace. Ward exchanged a glance with his team. This was unexpected. The humans had fought against impossible odds, and now the Queen herself wanted to meet them. Prepare yourselves, Ward said quietly. This is a different kind of battlefield, and the stakes are higher than any fight we've faced so far. The team nodded. They were nervous but ready. They had survived impossible odds before, and now they faced something even more challenging: the scrutiny of the most powerful being in the galaxy. When they arrived at the palace, the grandeur of the hall was overwhelming. Towering ceilings, glowing crystals, and alien architecture stretched in every direction, but Ward and his team stood tall. They had fought monsters, insurgents, and death itself. They would not be intimidated. Queen Xylaris sat on her black crystal throne, her violet eyes fixed on them. "You have survived battles that should have destroyed you," she said, her voice smooth and commanding. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and resilience. Tell me, how do humans fight so differently from other species?" Ward stepped forward, bowing respectfully but without fear. "Your Majesty, humans have survived because we rely on thought, teamwork, and adaptability. We do not rely solely on strength or technology. We observe, plan, and execute. That is how we endure." The Queen studied him carefully, her expression unreadable. "Endurance alone does not win wars, yet you have demonstrated more than mere survival. You control the battlefield in ways I did not expect. Perhaps I have been wrong about humans." Mara stepped forward cautiously. "Your Majesty, humans are not invincible, but we do not give up. We fight with what we have, and we fight together." Xylaris' eyes softened slightly. For the first time, she seemed almost human in her response. "There is wisdom in your words, and there is courage in your actions. I have observed many warriors, yet few possess the combination you display. You have earned my respect." Rio smirked quietly. "I wasn't expecting a compliment, but I'll take it." Lila chuckled softly. "Respect from the Queen herself. That's something we didn't expect." Ward inclined his head. "Respect is earned, not given. We did not seek it, but we accept it because it is deserved." Xylaris studied them for a long moment. "You are unlike any other species I have encountered. Fragile in appearance, yet formidable in spirit. Clever, courageous, and resilient humans. You are more dangerous than I imagined." The Queen paused, then added quietly, almost to herself, "Perhaps humans are not to be mocked or dismissed. Perhaps they are to be valued." The humans felt a quiet sense of triumph. They had not only survived impossible battles, but had earned the respect of one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. It was a rare moment, one that reminded them that true strength was not in size or numbers, but in courage, intelligence, and unity. Ward turned to his team quietly. "We have proven ourselves on the battlefield. Now we have proven ourselves in the eyes of the Queen. But remember, our work is not done. The war continues, and our greatest challenges lie ahead. We survive not for glory, but because it is what humans do. And we will continue to do it," Mara nodded. "We're ready for whatever comes next." Rio grinned. "Bring it on. Carrion 5 won't know what hit it." Lila smiled softly. "Together we can handle anything." The Queen watched them silently, her violet eyes thoughtful. She had expected fragile creatures easily broken. Instead, she saw a team that embodied the true spirit of humanity: clever, courageous, and united. She realized that humans could be allies of unparalleled value, or enemies of terrifying unpredictability. For the first time, she acknowledged a truth she had never considered. Humans were a species to be respected, not ridiculed, and the lesson was just beginning. As Ward and his team departed the palace, ready to return to the battlefield, they carried with them not only their weapons and skills, but a quiet, unspoken acknowledgement from the most powerful being in the Empire. Humans could fight, survive, and even earn the respect of those who once mocked them. The war on Carrion 5 had reached a critical point. The alien insurgents, infuriated by repeated defeats at the hands of the humans, had called in reinforcements. Entire battalions of heavily armed soldiers moved across the jagged plains, their ranks tight, disciplined, and confident in their numerical advantage. Captain Elias Ward and his team knew that this battle would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage they possessed. "This is it," Ward said quietly, surveying the horizon. "They are more numerous, stronger, and better equipped. But remember, we are humans. That means we are unpredictable, adaptable, and relentless. Stick to the plan, trust each other, and we survive. Mara Keen nodded, adjusting her gear. We've survived worse odds. We can do this. Rio Tanaka hefted his heavy rifle with a grin. Bring it on. I was getting bored of the smaller fights. Lila Brooks checked the medical supplies one last time. We survive as a team. Keep that in mind. One mistake could cost us everything. The humans advanced carefully, moving from cover to cover. Ward's strategy was simple but deadly. Use the terrain to their advantage, create confusion, and strike at critical points to disrupt the enemy's formation. The insurgents expected predictable attacks, but humans were far from predictable. From her palace, Queen Xylaris watched the unfolding battle on the large holoscreen. Violet eyes fixed on the battlefield, she felt a mixture of anticipation and admiration. The humans had survived impossible odds, and now they faced a force large enough to crush them. Yet, unlike most species, they did not falter. Their confidence, skill, and coordination were undeniable. They are small, fragile creatures, she whispered to herself. Yet they move with precision and purpose. They are extraordinary. The alien battalions advanced steadily, firing energy blasts that left craters in the red dust. Ward's team moved with quiet calculation. Small explosive charges were set along narrow passes, forcing the enemy to slow and regroup. Mara flanked from the left. Rio provided covering fire from above, and Lila stayed central to tend to any injuries and support the team. Ward led the front, directing every movement, every strike like a conductor leading a symphony. The humans' tactics were unlike anything the insurgents had faced. Rocks tumbled, smoke filled the air, and precisely timed attacks disrupted the alien formations. What should have been an overwhelming onslaught became chaotic and confusing for the attackers. They are controlling the battlefield, Xylarin said uneasily to the Queen. Xylaris's tail flicked slowly as she observed. Yes, they are humans. Fragile in form but clever, courageous, and relentless. They fight in a way no one has taught them. They fight with intelligence and spirit, and that makes them dangerous. Back on the battlefield, the humans executed their strategy flawlessly. Mara incapacitated key enemy soldiers with precise attacks from the flank. Rio's long-range fire disrupted the enemy's communication lines. Lila moved quickly between her teammates, keeping them in fighting condition. Ward targeted the enemy leaders, eliminating them in coordinated strikes that threw the opposing forces into disarray. Even as enemy reinforcements arrived, the humans adapted. They divided their focus, setting traps for advancing soldiers while simultaneously defending strategic positions. Each move was precise, calculated, and executed without hesitation. The insurgents, confident in their superior numbers and strength, began to falter under the humans' relentless adaptability. On the holoscreen, Queen Xylaris's eyes glimmered with fascination. They are extraordinary, she murmured. I have never seen warriors fight like this. Their strength is not in numbers, not in armor, not in weapons, but in the mind, the courage, and the unity. Humans, they are beyond what I imagined. The battle raged on for hours. Dust and smoke obscured the sun, creating a chaotic battlefield where humans moved like shadows, striking at the enemy's weaknesses with skill and courage. Every move, every action, showed the precision and intelligence that made humans uniquely formidable. At a critical moment, Ward noticed a weak point in the enemy's formation. Signaling his team, they executed a daring flanking maneuver, cutting off the enemy's reinforcements and turning the tide of the battle. The alien insurgents, once confident and disciplined, now found themselves disorganized, struggling to respond to attacks from unexpected directions. Ward's voice carried clearly over the chaos. Focus. Stick together. Adapt, overcome. The humans advanced steadily, gaining ground, and slowly the enemy began to retreat. The insurgents, overwhelmed and disoriented, had no choice but to withdraw from the battlefield. The humans had won, not through brute force, but through intelligence, adaptability, and unyielding courage. As the dust settled, Ward surveyed the battlefield. His team had survived again, each member unscathed, each one demonstrating the human spirit that refused to break. Mara, Rio, and Lila shared a brief moment of quiet triumph. We did it, Mara said softly. Ward nodded. We survive. We fight, we win. That is what humans do. Meanwhile, back in the palace, Queen Xylaris rose from her throne. She had witnessed the humans' victory firsthand, and for the first time she spoke openly about her admiration. They are humans, she said, her voice steady and commanding. Fragile yet stronger than any species I have encountered. Clever, courageous, and united. I underestimated them and I was wrong. They have earned my respect and the respect of this empire. Xyloran bowed his head, silently acknowledging the truth. Your Majesty, they are indeed remarkable. Xylaris's violet eyes softened, yet they retained their sharp intensity. Yes, humans are not to be mocked. They are to be valued. Their strength is unlike any other I have seen, and their potential is limitless. On the battlefield, Ward and his team regrouped. They had won, but the victory was more than just survival. It was proof of the human spirit, of courage, intelligence, and adaptability against impossible odds. As they prepared to return to base, Ward addressed his team quietly. This is what humanity is capable of. Not strength alone, not technology alone, but spirit, courage, and intelligence. Remember this moment. Remember what we have accomplished together. Mara smiled. We've shown them what humans can do, and I think they'll remember it. Ryo laughed softly. I think they'll never forget fragile humans taking down entire battalions. Lila nodded. We survived, and that is the most important thing. The humans returned to their transport ship, tired but unbroken. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious, leaving a lasting impression not just on the battlefield, but in the heart of the alien queen herself. Queen Xylaris watched their departure in silence. The humans had proven a truth she could no longer ignore. Appearances could be deceiving, and strength was measured not by size or weapons, but by courage, intelligence, and unity. They are remarkable, she whispered. Humans. They fight in ways I did not expect. They survive where others fail, and they earn respect through every action. I will never underestimate them again. For the first time in her long reign, the alien queen felt a genuine admiration for a species she had once ridiculed. Humans, small and fragile as they appeared, had proven themselves as warriors of unparalleled skill and indomitable spirit. The war on Carrion 5 would continue, and humans would face many more challenges. But one fact had been firmly established. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with, clever, courageous, and unstoppable when united. And so, Captain Elias Ward and his team returned to the front lines, carrying not just weapons, but the quiet power of human spirit, an unbreakable resolve that even the mighty alien queen could not ignore. In the end, the humans had not only survived the battles, they had earned recognition, respect, and a place in the annals of galactic history as warriors who could defy expectation and triumph against all odds. The Queen's words echoed quietly in her mind as she watched the humans leave. They are not weak. They are not to be mocked. They are humans, and they are extraordinary. Carrion 5, a harsh, unforgiving world, had tested humanity, and humanity had won. Not because they were the strongest or the fastest or the most technologically advanced, but because they were human, intelligent, adaptable, courageous, and united.